because he had it figured. Thanks for the help.
What's that for?
Not sure. But I'd sure hate you don't have it when we find out.
This is the Yellowstone, and you have no rights here.
You can't start a range war. Range war's already started.
If you're anything like me, I imagine you also can't get enough of the Duttons and their sprawling, dramatic, and often heartbreaking family saga. I mean, from 1883 to 1923 and the main Yellowstone series, I've been completely hooked. Even the horrible ending of the original series could not prevent my heart from racing for the new series in the series. Especially when it comes to the prequels, I'm all in. And the next prequel series of the franchise, titled 1944, will be everything we could ever ask for, saving the reputation of the Yellowstone all over again. As many of you know, the Dutton family's journey has always been about resilience, fighting to protect their land and legacy no matter the cost. With 1944, we're stepping into an era that will put that resilience to the ultimate test. Enter World War II. Think about it. The 1940s were a time of massive change for everyone in the US, and ranches like the Duttons weren't just feeding their families. They were part of the national effort, supplying food for soldiers and civilians alike. So the stakes are higher than ever, and the fight is more tense than we have ever seen. The thing is, this entire struggle in 1944 will make Yellowstone's ending even more bitter and heartbreaking, as we know that after all these, the ranch got lost no matter what. And yes, this makes 1944 even more exciting to watch. But let me know what you think about it. Personally, I'm picturing a Dutton ranch that's busier than ever, but also struggling to keep up as the war drafts young men and leaves a huge labor gap behind. So, who do you think will step up to keep things running? Well, it is clear that the Dutton women will have a more importance and prominence than ever, and I cannot wait for it. But we have more questions to be answered in the series. Like, how will the family adapt when their traditional ways clash with the rise of industrial agriculture? And what happens when the weight of the war reaches even the remote corners of Montana? Is it just me, or is there so much potential here to explore how the Duttons' grit and determination hold them together in one of the most challenging times in American history? One thing I'm particularly curious about is how World War II will shape the family dynamics. After all, the war didn't just impact those who went to fight, it completely changed life for everyone back home. In Montana, where ranching was such a cornerstone of survival, families had to step up in ways they never imagined. And it will be a tough watch for us all for sure. I think 1944 will give us a chance to see the Dutton women take on even more prominent roles. With the younger men likely drafted, women and older family members would have had no choice but to run the ranch. I'm betting this will introduce some incredible new characters, and maybe even bring a few surprises about the Duttons' past. With the rise of the Dutton women on the horizon, could this be the era where we see the seeds of Beth Dutton's fiery personality planted in an earlier generation? Honestly, it's a thought that gives me chills. One of the biggest reasons I'm hyped for 1944 is the chance to learn more about John Dutton too. He's the father of Kevin Costner's John Dutton from the main series, and while we've heard bits and pieces about him, we've never really seen his story. This prequel will change that, and perhaps will give an update to the Dutton family tree. Imagine a young John Dutton too growing up during the war, watching his family struggle to hold everything together, while also learning the values that will shape him as a future patriarch. That's exactly what we will watch in 1944. What kind of man was he as a teenager? How did the war and its aftermath mold him into the father we've heard so much about? These are the kinds of questions Taylor Sheridan will dive into in this new prequel series. Do you think John Dutton too will be as tough as his descendants, or could we see a more vulnerable side to him? Let's speculate together in the comments. Okay, now let's talk casting, because if you're like me, this is one of the most exciting parts of any new Yellowstone project. The big name being thrown around right now is, to no one's surprise, Matthew McConaughey. And honestly, I'm all for it. Like, cast him in a Yellowstone show already. He is expected to be a seasoned rancher, possibly a friend turned foe to the Duttons. Some also argue that he will be a distant relative to the Duttons, linking the Dutton story to the new Yellowstone sequel, The Madison. Honestly, regardless of who is he cast as, McConaughey's got that rugged charm and depth that would fit perfectly into the Yellowstone universe. Plus, we've seen him handle intense, emotional roles before, so I'm confident he'd bring something unforgettable to the table. Do you think McConaughey should be cast as a Dutton in 1944, or would you like to see him as an outside force? Let me know in the comments. Now, who do you think will star alongside McConaughey? Well, of course, none other than our beloved 1883 alumni, Isabel May. Yes, you heard it right. I've got to say, one of the best surprises from 1883 was May's performance as Elsa Dutton. She completely stole the show, and I'm still not over her tragic death. So, when I heard that there's a chance she might return for 1944, I couldn't help but get my hopes up. According to behind-the-scene rumors, Sheridan knows how much people loved May's performance, and now he is getting ready to recast her as a newer generation of Dutton, to give Elsa a second chance in life. And honestly, I feel like that would be amazing. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments, but I'd love to see her back on screen, especially if she's given a central role this time. Do you think Isabel May's return would add to the story, or do you prefer to keep Elsa's legacy untouched? Let's chat about it in the comments. One of the things I've always loved about Sheridan's work is how interconnected everything feels. Every series in the Yellowstone universe builds on the one before it, creating a rich tapestry that spans generations. With 1944, things will be no different, as I think we'll get a deeper look at how the Duttons became the fierce defenders of their land that we see in the main series. Sheridan has said he wants the franchise to feel like one continuous narrative, and I think so far he's nailing it. Even though I hated how he handled Yellowstone's final season, I think we should give the credits where the credits are due and accept that this man is good at creating an entire universe that is linked with one another. 1883 showed us the Duttons' origins, 1923 revealed the sacrifices they made during the Great Depression, and now 1944 will bridge the gap between those early struggles and the modern-day drama we all love. And I'm here for all of them. Does knowing the Duttons' full history make you see the main Yellowstone series differently? I'd love to hear your perspective on it. We know that the production is to begin in early 2025, with a release date likely around November 2025. If Sheridan sticks to his usual schedule, we should get a trailer by fall 2025. And you better believe I'll be watching it on repeat as soon as it drops. For more weekly updates on the Yellowstone universe, make sure to like and follow. To see what to expect from 1923 Season 2, watch the video on the screen.